Emmanuel Nwude, also popularly known as Uwel of Abunuga, was an infamous Nigerian fraudster and former director of the Union Bank of Nigeria, who, like the Prince of Nigeria offering an incredible investment opportunity, managed to con a Brazilian bank out of a staggering $242 million by selling them a fake airport. Even though the Nigerian internet scams became the most common form of scams, Nwude had already managed to pull off the third biggest con in history. So you begin to wonder, how in hell did Emmanuel Nwude get away with selling an airport that didn't exist? No, not a plane, an entire airport. Keep watching the video ahead to find out how he managed to do so. Hey guys, welcome to another exciting video from our channel. In this video today, we take a look at how the infamous Nigerian fraudster Emmanuel Nwude managed to sell a fake airport for a staggering $242 million, the third biggest con the world has ever seen. But before we get into it, subscribe to our channel and hit the bell icon to never miss a video from us. Let's take a look. The fake airport scam. Admittedly, the story of Emmanuel and the imaginary airport isn't as simple as those emails you get from time to time asking for your bank details, but the essential elements, Nigeria and scamming, are present and correct. Having previously worked as a director for the Union Bank of Nigeria, Emmanuel Nwude, the mastermind behind the scam, was privy to the crucial aspects of information needed to pull this con off. His banking background gave him access to the connections, documentation, and links that made him more believable when it came to executing his scam. To execute his scam, Emmanuel impersonated Paul Ogwuma, who at the time was the governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria. With everything in place, Nwude and his accomplices Emmanuel Afolo, Abam Asokwe, and Nzerib Okoli managed to get in touch with Nelson Sakajuki, the director of Brazilian Banco Noroeste, to inform him of a jaw-dropping deal: Nigeria's plan to build a brand new airport in Abuja. The deal was getting the Brazilian bank involved in developing the Nigerian economy by investing in the building of a new airport in one of Nigeria's cities, Abuja. To sweeten the deal, Nwude proposed the director of the bank, Nelson Sakajuki, would be in line to pocket $10 million in commission, an offer too sweet to refuse. Nelson fell for the scam. What followed was between the years 1995 and 1998. Sakajuki paid the fraudsters jaw-dropping $191 million in cash and the remaining $51 million in the form of outstanding interest from Banco Noroeste. The scam falls apart. While it was a done deal and scammers had pocketed the cash, their fates had some different plans. The scam began to unravel when a Spanish bank, Banco Santander, wanted to take over the Brazilian bank in 1997. The takeover meant that Banco Santander was going to conduct a thorough investigation of the Brazilian bank's financial statements and look into all the investments made by the bank. During this period, and many board meetings between the two banks later, in December 1997, top officials from the Spanish bank questioned why almost half of the Brazilian bank's capital was sitting in an unprotected account in the Cayman Islands. Apparently on the orders of the director Nelson Sakajuki, the Brazilian bank, unaware of the scam, had transferred the funds into an unknown account in tax haven Cayman Islands. As this discrepancy could not be sufficiently explained as there was no airport in Abuja, formal investigations were initiated. An investigation was to find out who owned this account and where exactly the money went. Criminal investigations also had to be carried out in Brazil, Nigeria, Switzerland, and England. Yet, it wasn't until 2004 that Nwude and his gang were brought to trial before the Abuja High Court on 86 accounts of fraudulently seeking advance fees and 15 counts of bribery related to the case. Fate of the scammers. Now that the scam was out in the open, the heap of trouble lay ahead for everyone involved. Although the scam took place between the years 1995 and 1998, Emmanuel and his accomplices were only brought to court in 2004. The complexity of the case meant that specialist investigations had to be carried out. As a result of this, the criminal investigations only began to take shape in 2002. This is when the then Nigerian President Olusegun Obasanjo established an anti-graft agency, the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, to bring the culprits to justice and avoid bad publicity. The investigations proved fruitful. The sum of money was too big to be ignored by all the countries involved, and thus Emmanuel Nwude and his gang was apprehended. When the scammers were brought before the Nigerian Abuja High Court, they faced over 100 counts of fraud, bribery, related charges, and even gruesome murder. They originally pleaded not guilty. However, their defense began to crumble in front of the High Court, barring there was no other option but to confess. One of the fraudsters gave in and confessed to the crimes. Despite a confession from one of his accomplices, Emmanuel still tried to evade justice by attempting to bribe the chairman of the EFCC with $75,000. This did not end well for him, as the chairman refused the bribe, resulting in additional bribery charges being added to Emmanuel's docket. To add salt to the injury, the prosecutors finally put the final nail in the scammer's coffin by presenting Nelson Sakajuki as the witness, the man who had been conned into making payments for the non-existent airport. Following his testimony, Nwude and his crew pleaded guilty. The entirety of Nwude's assets were confiscated to be returned to the victims, and a $10 million fine was imposed to be paid to the Nigerian federal government. Emmanuel was released from prison in 2006. Nwude filed a lawsuit to recover his seized assets after he was released from prison, on the grounds that some of the assets were acquired before the offense was committed. He has reclaimed at least $52 million. A decade later, Nwude again found himself inside a prison on charges of murder and terrorism. The head of Nigeria's Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, Nuhu Ribadu, made the refund of $17 million to William Ritchie, a lawyer representing the defunct Banco Noroeste of Sao Paulo, Brazil, later in 2005. By making this restitution to the victims of the scam, he also wanted to send a strong, unequivocal message that we will no longer harbor such fraudulently acquired funds, no matter where the victim is, Ribadu said in a statement. Ribadu said more money recovered from 3 Nigerians convicted of the scam would eventually be returned to the bank. Nigerian security agencies have redoubled efforts to combat such scams under President Olusegun Obasanjo, who has long pledged to tackle the rampant fraud that flourished in the country's long period of corrupt military rule. The scam went down in history as one of the most elaborate and biggest banking scams of the century. It is quite difficult to understand how such a scam was even allowed to happen. A deal involving millions of dollars usually involves hours of due diligence exercises by lawyers and the various professionals involved. It is mind-boggling how an established bank was able to fall victim to such a scam. The sheer thought of what lengths Emmanuel Nwude and his crew must have had to go to pull out this almost $250 million scam is mind-boggling. Why did the bank not send a supervisor to Abuja to observe the construction of the airport? Why didn't Nelson Sakajuki follow through and keep up with the deal? There are so many more questions and many more under-the-table deals that never came out. But one thing is for sure, this scam formed an integral part of banking in history and would be a lesson worth learning for the bankers of the future. And with that, we have come to the end of the video. If you enjoyed watching it, then like, share, and subscribe to our channel for more such exciting content from us. See you next time.